Okay, warrior, we need to read Mosiah 22 because we're trying to catch up. So here we are. And this one only has, 1 second, miss. This one only has 16 verses. So I think we'll be able to cover it pretty quickly. 1 second. Okay, so it says plans are made for the people to escape from Lamanite bondage. The Lamanites are made drunk. The people escape, return to Zarahemla, and become subject to King Mosiah. Okay, that sounds like good news to me, because then they don't need to be in bondage anymore. So let's see. It says verse 1. So we're going to read verses 1 to 8. I tell you, I could get sleepy anywhere. Okay. And now it came to pass that Ammon and King Limhi began to consult with the people how they should deliver themselves out of bondage. And even they did cause that all the people should gather themselves together. And this they did, that they might have the voice of the people concerning the matter. And it came to pass that they could find no way to deliver themselves out of bondage, except it were to take their women and children and their flocks and their herds and their tents and depart into the wilderness. For the Lamanites being so numerous, it was impossible for the people of Limhi to contend with them, thinking to deliver themselves out of bondage by the sword. Now it came to pass that Gideon went forth and stood before the king, and said unto him, Now, O king, thou hast hitherto hearkened unto my words many times when we have been contending with our brethren, the Lamanites. And now, O king, if thou hast not found me to be if thou hast not found me to be an unprofitable servant, or if thou hast hitherto listened to my words in any degree, and they have been of service to thee, even so I desire that thou wouldst listen to my words at this time, and I will be thy servant, and deliver this people out of bondage. And the king granted unto him that he might speak. And Gideon said unto him, Behold, the back pass through the back wall, on the back side of the city. The Lamanites, or guards of the Lamanites by night, are drunken. Therefore let us send a proclamation among all this people, that they gather together their flocks and herds, that they may drive them into the wilderness by night. And I will go according to thy command, and pay the last tribute of wine to the Lamanites, and they will be drunken, and we will pass through the secret pass on the left of their camp, when they are drunken and asleep. Thus we will depart with our women and our children, our flocks and our herds into the wilderness, and we will travel around the land of Shiloh. Okay, so this is the escape plan. Okay, so these Nephites had already tried to deliver themselves and had failed. They now have 16 additional strong men, but what is that compared to an entire Lamanite army, right? True. But the difference is now they know Zarahemla exists, and now they have turned to the Lord, and now it is time to pray for miracles. King Limhi turned to the people. We need to give plenty of credit to clarity and to a plan, because I think when you don't have clarity and you don't have a plan, you don't know where you're going. So you're just going to go in circles. And so sometimes extra additional people, like Who Not How is a book that we have read, and it talks about accomplishing things. It's not necessarily how we're going to do it, but who can help us. And so these are the people that are going to help them. They had 16 additional strong men who were going to help these Lamanites, or who were going to help these Nephites escape the Lamanites. And so they needed those who's, right, that they could trust to help them get out of there. And that's what we need. Sometimes we don't need to figure it out all by ourselves, and we need to get help from outside sources, and we need to humble ourselves to do that. So anyway, okay, so it says King Limhi turned to the people in verse 1 for their voices. King Limhi turned to the people in verse 1 for their voices and to counsel on how they could be delivered. But their women, children, flocks, herds, and belongings, including some very precious records. So this was very complicated. Yeah, I bet. And this is now the third time we see Gideon's name. This is a man who makes a difference. He has proven to be insightful in the past, and here he possesses an escape. He proposes an escape plan. Yep, see, when we have somebody who can help us, when we have clarity, when we have a plan, we can be more successful. Okay. And then the Lord knows how to help us, right? Because if we're just like, please help us escape, it's like, that's not how it's going to work. you have to do work. You have to figure out, like, what is your plan? How are you going to escape? I can't do all the work for you. He blessed us with brains. We need to use them. Okay. And then it says, part of their tribute was giving wine to the Lamanites, so they will not suspect anything if they take the Lamanite guards wine. Knowing their character, Gideon explains that they will be drunken and asleep, which will allow them to pass by their camp. By the way, that sounds like so loud. We try to have Flora go to bed in her room, and we're like sneaking out to the room just to make sure she goes to sleep, right? But instead, sometimes we trip over things, we do those things, and we make a lot of noise. But if we know that she's super sound asleep, then it's fine, actually. And you know what's actually hilarious is the fact that she prefers to sleep with noise. It's kind of weird, but that's what she likes to do. I think she just feels safer with people around. Maybe that's what it is. Okay. And it came to pass that the king, so 9-12, and it came to pass that the king hearkened unto the words of Gideon, and King Limhi caused that his people should gather their flocks together, and he sent the tribute of wine to the Lamanites, and he also sent more wine as a present unto them, and they did drink freely of the wine which King Limhi did send unto them. And it came to pass that the people of King Limhi did depart by night into the wilderness with their flocks and their herds, and they went round about the land of Shilom in the wilderness, and bent their course toward the land of Zarahemla, being led by Ammon and his brethren. And they had taken all their gold and silver and their precious things which they could carry, and also their provisions with them into the wilderness, and they pursued their journey. Oh, it just makes me sad, though, that they have to leave all their stuff that they worked so hard to accomplish throughout this whole time, But sometimes moving is good for us, because then we purge the things we don't need, and we keep the things that actually really matter. Okay, it says, what do you think? Limhi put Gideon's plan into action, and it worked. This was the perfect escape plan, because there was no loss of life, no loss of their flocks and herds, and no loss of their precious things. Other than what they had already lost, it was a total deliverance. They were now out of bondage and in a new land that held great promise for their own futures and their future generations. Love it. Okay, and then 13-16. And after being many days in the wilderness, they arrived in the land of Zarahemla and joined Mosiah's people and became his subjects. And it came to pass that Mosiah received them with joy, and he also received their records, and also the records which had been found by the people of Limhi. And now it came to pass, when the Lamanites had found that the people of Limhi had departed out of the land by night, that they sent an army into the wilderness to pursue them. And after they had pursued them 2 days, they could no longer follow their tracks. Therefore, they were lost in the wilderness. Oh, I love that. Right? The Lord can deliver us, even if we make bad choices. Remember, they were the ones that made the wrong choices to begin with? Okay, so Reddit hostess commentary. What do you think this moment truly might have been like? They traveled to Zarahemla and joined Mosiah's people. Imagine them arriving to this great city surrounded by other Nephites. Imagine the king receiving them with joy. Imagine not needing to keep their eyes out for the Lamanites coming to attack them. Imagine them not needing to worry about the priests stealing their crops. They were now delivered, and they will start their new lives in Zarahemla. Woo, woo! That's amazing. So, what can we learn from this story? And how did the Lord show that he has the power to deliver us? Okay, and then what experiences had these Nephites had that could help them become great citizens of Zarahemla? Right? Their experiences are leading them to be really awesome. Okay, and here's the read it, live it for chapter 22. Okay, it says, when Ammon and King Limhi are figuring out how to deliver themselves out of the hands of the Lamanites, they gather people together for advice. They study out ideas together, and eventually God sends the answer. What are you trying to figure out? Gather your people. Ooh, I love that. And in fact, right now, we are trying to gather some people to be able to start a snow cone shack, like shave ice shack. I don't know what to call it. I do know what to call it. We want to call it snow cone, but people don't know what it is. So that's why we have to kind of say what it is second to that. So, so it's our shave ice and hot cocoa stand. And we are just trying to figure out what to do, and no idea what we can do. It feels like we don't know what we're doing at all. But then there's moments where I'm like, I know exactly what we're doing, And I'm so grateful that we've been able to get it going, and all the things are moving and pieces are getting placed. But I think it's right. Like, what are we trying to figure out? And maybe we just need the help of our people, the help of our team, the who, not how, right? Like, we can't do it by ourselves, but we can get some help from our peeps. So I think that's so important. So anyways, this is good stuff. All right, until we read chapter 23, stay strong, warrior.